You're saying Colonel Mboto, at the time at which you requested him to come get the statement from accused number one, he was a station commissioner at Randburg.
Not
station commissioner, but branch commander.
Branch commander of the detectives.
Yes.
Colonel Mbata kuthi go branch commander lapho ke Randburg ngaphansi noma ihola ke abaseshi bamacala.
That he was a branch commander, my lord, not a station commander.
Athi kade ku branch commander ke phakathi ngasiyena u station commander.
Now, do you have a clue as to how long has he been that branch commander? For how long has he been a branch commander?
No.
At Randburg, from the date or on the date on which you requested him to go take statement from accused number one.
Athi ngabe ngesikhathi lesi bomcela ngaso ekuthizeni ke ezeka akathi statement sakamsola uqala. Ngabe kade enesikhathi esingangani ke lapho ke uColonel Mboto sele ku branch commander lapha Randburg.
No, my lord, I don't know. So I didn't even know actually that he was a branch commander in Randburg. I only got to know that part when he told me to come and fetch the confession form at Randburg. That's when then I knew that he was now a branch commander. So I didn't know at the time when I called him that he was the branch commander there.
Athi ke ngesikhathi kade amcela kade angazi ukuthi uColonel Mboto kade ku branch commander kepha yena kugcina ekwazi ko ngesikhathi bekamshayela athi akeze ufakazi othatha iphepha leli noma iwoni statement kade asithathile uma afika kuyena ke kulawazi wakhona ke ukuthi yena sile ku branch commander.
I had a look at his service history in the police. He seemed to have spent most of his time working around the area of Joburg. Most of the time he has been working around the area of Joburg. That is what I could gather from his service history.
Athi lapho kuphethe imininingwane yakhe ke mara nesipilon seminyaka sayisebenzile kathi isikhathi esiningi sokusebenza kwakhe kusebenze ngaphansi kwedolobha laseGoli.
Let me say the greater part of that Joburg area there, including
athi ke usuthi usebenze ngaphansi kwesigodi ke noma mhlawumbe kwendawo yaseGoli ke usuthi mhlawumbe kumadolobha awela ngaphansi kwesigodi saseGoli.
My lord, I can't speak on his behalf. I think he'll be in a better position to answer that.
Athi cha ngeke ngikhona ke ukuthi ngimkhulumeleke kepha yena ke uyena ke ngaba selungelweni ukuthi yena ke aqhamuke bese ke ayikhulumele malana nalophuzu lelo.
Thank you. And you yourself told this court that although you never worked in a case before with him, you knew each other.
Athi wena ke fakazi utshele inkosi enkantolo ukuthi nanoma akaze nisebenze endaweni nobabili ke kepha wena ke kade nisazana.
Yes, I've met him, my lord, when he was a branch commander, I think in Cleveland, some years ago. That's where I knew him from, my lord.
Athi yebo sahlangana ngesikhathi kade mina ku branch commander wesikhumulo sasephoyisa sase Cleveland. Athi kulasa qala ke ukuhlangana khona ke lapho ke.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, Brigadier, this was a high-profile case. The death of Senzo was one of the high-profile cases, and the reason why it became such a high-profile case is because it remained it remained something that was troublesome on the bench of the police because they could not specifically arrest the person and charge him and ultimately convict him with the matter of Senzo.
Athi icala elikicala ke elikhulu ke icala elikhulu kabi ke ngoba kade belithule bekhuluma ngalo ke maphephandaba noma intatheli ade zikhuluma ngazo ke kepha akukho ke umuntu owaboswa bese ngoba ukuthi aboshiwe ke bese bamshushisa ngaphambi kwenkosi enkantolo bese wagwetshwa ke watholwa inecala bese wagwetshwa ke futhi amaphoyisa kwathatha isikhathi esiningi ekuthizeni agcina athola ke ulokhu ukuthi abobani ke ababulala uSenzo Meyiwa
up until now.
kuze kufike esikhathini samanje.
Yes, I'm listening, my lord.
Athi yebo ngilalele.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier Colonel Mboto, having worked around the area of Joburg, and this case also happening around the greater part of Joburg, would that not have meant that he basically knew the minute that you told him that you worked, we are working on phosphorus 63610 of 2014. This case has got everything to do with the death of Senzo, noting that you are saying he was a branch commander in the detective section.
Athi-ke usuthi ngesikhathi kona-ke kade uxhumana-ke naye-ke uColonel Mboto-ke umtshela ukuthi wena-ke usesha icala leli-ke lokubulawa kaSenzo Meyiwa icala se-phosphorus le-case 636/10 of 2020 ngoba yena kade asebenza ngaphansi kwethimba noma yebo ithimba labaseshi bamacala-ke njenge-branch commander lapho-ke ngaphansi kwendawo seGoli noma idolobha laseGoli-ke usuthi yena kade angazi ukuthi wena kade usesha icala leli lakaSenzo Meyiwa.
No, so no, it's not what he said. It's not what he said. But anyway, I follow what he's saying. He may have known, my lord. He was saying Colonel Mboto may have known about the death of Senzo Meyiwa. Yes, I'm saying, my lord, he may have known because it was publicized. But he would not have known the contents of the docket because what was out in the media and what was contained in the docket, those are two different things, my lord.
Athi yebo lokho ke mhlambe bekazobe analo ulwazi mayelana nakho kepha-ke indaba engade ngaphakathi kwedokethi bekanganalo ulwazi mayelana nayo kepha mana nodaba lolu ukuthi intatheli kade zikhuluma ngakho-ke kumaphephandaba mhlawumbe kubomabona kude bekazoba nalo ulwazi ngalokho.
Thank you, Brigadier. And the minute you mentioned to him that the case that I'm requesting you to go and do this confession on is about 63610 of 2014, that served a lot to check his mind. And it served a lot to check his mind and as a pointer to the fact that this could have been the Senzo Meyiwa case, not so?
Athi usuthi ngesikhathi bokhuluma naye umcela ukuthi akulekeleleke malana necala leli laka case at 636/10 of 2014 ngesikhathi ukhuluma malana necala leli usuthi lokho mhlawumbe ngeke mhlawumbe kuhambe kungena umcabango wakhe noma kusheshe kufike kumkhumbulo wakhe ethizeni icala leli ke mhlawumbe icala leli lokushona kaSenzo Meyiwa.
No, I don't know what was going through his mind, my lord. I gave him the reference, and so I think the difficulty is I may interpret or think I understand what was going through his mind incorrectly. I'm not in a position to comment or to testify as to what went through his mind.
Athi-ke akekho ngaphansi akekho sesimeni sokuthi aphenduleke ukuthi ngabe yini bekayicabanga ke uColonel Mboto kumcabango wakhe-ke ngesikhathi baxhumana naye malana nodaba lolu lwethize amlekelele kuleli cala.
Thank you, Brigadier. I think Colonel Mboto would have been the dumbest cop in South Africa to have said that at the time at which you requested him to go and do the confession, he had no knowledge about the death of Senzo. I withdraw the question.
We don't.
I withdraw the question. Thank you.
But that question,
I said I withdrew it, my lord.
yeah, but you can't say something about an officer of the law that would have been the dumbest.
That's not an insult, my lord.
It is.
No, it is not.
You're saying a colonel is the dumbest court in the country if he didn't know about Senzo Meyiwa's death.
The word dumb is not an insult, my lord, unless the court wants to understand
No,
it
I
to
understand it as an
then it's
insult.
fine.
Me, I understand it as an
No,
insult.
thanks, my lord, thanks. Yes.
And I think even Mr. Baloyi understands it as such, even Brigadier Geninda.
Yes.
No, but the court cannot put words into the mouth of the state and why does the court not ask one of the members of the public?
We are rising precisely on that point.
Yeah, I know, because you are responsible officers of this court.
Yeah, but the court can't say even Mr. Baloyi understand it in that way.
Any
Mr.
lawyer
Brigadier Kininda
any lawyer will
it.
understand
But my
it.
colleagues which are seated here and members of the public, the court does not refer to them. Why does the court specifically have to refer to the members of the state?
Yeah, you can go on.
Thank you.
Remember, I said it's obvious that some of our colleagues don't care about etiquette.
Thank you, Brigadier. I'll park this point about Mboto. Be rest assured I'll be coming back to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, Brigadier, is the court speaking?
No.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier, you have been a passionate reader of the entry books, of the, what do they call it now? Those entry, please. The OP entries. You told this court that you had gone through the entries at Fileria police station and you could find no information about the or information relating to the alleged assault that accused number one is crying about, not so?
Wathi mnumzana ke fakazi bakhuluma ngodaba lama entry book ke lapho ke ama occurrence book ukuthi yona ke ngaphi ngesikhathi bofunda ke incwadi yakho na ke leyo ke akukho la wathwala bebhalile khona ukuthi umsola uqala washaya asinjalo.
That's correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kuyiqiniso lokho.
Thank you. You also you basically testified at length about those entries. Now, on the 5th, which is the date of the alleged pointing out of accused number one, which he did before with Ratha, that was the 5th, isn't it? On the 5th of June. I want us to concentrate there. Now, you say you made arrangements with Ratha to come take pointing out from, or to conduct the pointing out with accused number one, so?
Ngelanga la nge-5 zakaJuni kula wacela khona ke babo Ratha ukuthi ziyakulekelela uma akusizeke elithizeni umsola oqala enze ukhomba khona.
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
And you also gave him, as you were requesting him, you also gave him the case number.
Ngemuva ukuthi ke umceleke lapho ke bese umupha i-case number yecala.
I'm not sure if I gave him, I don't remember, my lord, because the arrangement was that Sergeant Mokhane will go and book. The request from I may have given him the case number, but the request from Lieutenant Colonel Ratha was that the accused must be booked in the books of Alberton ACPS, and then he will book the suspect out himself. So what I then did, I gave the telephone numbers of Sergeant Mokhane to Lieutenant Colonel Ratha and vice versa, my lord, so that they can speak to each other and make those arrangements. So I'm not sure whether I may have given him the case number or I left it to Sergeant Mokhane, but I did ask him to assist me.
Athi akanaso isiqiniseko ukuthi ngabe wamupha yini i-case number icala ke lapho ke noma akazamuphe ke lapho ke kepha ke uSergeant Muthelezwa washo khona nje uthi ke lapho ke kwamele ukuthi bambhuke ke ngaphansi kwesiphoyisa noma isikhumulo samaphoyisa sase-Albertine ke lapho ke uSergeant Mokhane ukuthi umbhuka khona ke bese yena kuzothi lapho kamkhiphe khona ke ahambe naye. Bese wanikeza ke imininingwane inombolo ke wanikeza uMokhane futhi wanikeza nalomunye wesibili thi baxhumane ucingweni.
Thank you. Just a second. I brought the wrong documents. Yeah, I thought I brought documents relating to accused number one when I brought everything that is got to do with accused number two. I did a vice versa. So now I'm struggling to find my documents. It's not like I'm not organized, well organized, just that it's a human error. that can refer to anyone. But nonetheless, Brigadier, let me assure you, let me actually say that you did give him the case number, that Phosphorus 63610 of 2014. You gave it to Ratha.
athi ithi yena ke enze ngesiqiniseko sokuthi akutshele kujona wamupha kwabo Radebe ke lapho ke case number iqala phosphorus is 636/10/2014.
I'm not disputing it, my lord,
Thanks.
because like I said, I may have given it to him as a reference when I asked him, my lord.
Athi yebo ngikuphiki ke lokho yebo ngikuphiki ngoba kungenza ukuthi ngamupha ke lo case number njenge reference eqala.
Yes, that is on exhibit GG. And further on, Brigadier, you went on to arrange for him a photographer, not so?
Athi futhi uma ngabe qhubeka nenkulumo yakhe ukuthi wena ke wahlela ke umuntu othatha ke ithombe lapho ke for yena uthi abe naye lo muntu lo akusinjalo.
I don't have a recollection of that, my lord.
Ratha,
Me, no,
Ratha.
I don't think so. I don't think so. That's not what, because then I'm doing the photograph, and according to I can just, it's A159. It is Lieutenant Colonel Radebe who made this arrangement. It's written, it's paragraph 2 of the photographer who actually took the photos. That would have been a difficulty for me to arrange, because the person doing the pointing out must arrange with the photographer in terms of the meeting points and all that. I was not there, so I could not have arranged that.
Athi yena lokho akakhumbule kwenza ke uma ngabe buka lapho ngaphakathi kwemibukiso khona ke 159 ukuthi lapho uColonel Radebe yena ke wahlela noma owenza ke uhlelo lokuthi ke umuntu othatha ithombe akabe khona ke lapho ke ngoba yena kade angekho ke njengofakazi ngesikhathi kade kusenzeka udaba lolo ke futhi umuntu owenza ke lapho ke khomba futhi yena kumele ukuthi kube uye kohlela ke nomuntu ozofika bese athubule ke ithombe ke lapho.
Thank you, Brigadier. Let us talk about the photographer. You say a photographer in a pointing out should be arranged by the officer that is going to do the pointing out, not so?
No, I'm not saying he should. I'm saying the difficulty that I would have had is that the photographer must liaise with the person taking the photos. Conducting the pointing out, because they must arrange where they will meet. So if now I do that arrangement,
Yes,
and I'm not doing the pointing out, I don't have a recollection, my lord, that I've arranged. That's why I said even the movement of the accused from Valera police station, the instruction was given to Sergeant Mokhane to move accused number 1 to Alberton ACPS, and then Lieutenant Colonel Radebe's number was given by me to Sergeant Mokhane, and vice versa, the one of Lieutenant Colonel Radebe to Mokhane to arrange that, because I was out. So I do not have a recollection that I would have arranged this photographer, my lord. I don't have that recollection or remembrance.
you did.
Athi ke lapho ke la akasakhumbula akasenakho ukukhumbula kahle ukuthi ngabe uyena noma kusuye ke owenza uhlelo lokuthi photographer yakhe ibe khona lapho ngesikhathi behamba beyokhomba ke lapho ke ngoba esikhathini esiningi umuntu kusube ke hamba nomsola esikhathini esiningi uma ngabe bekwenza ke ukhomba uhlelo lokukhomba kwabo ke lapho ke kumele ukuthi akhulumisane ke nomuntu othubula ke ithombe photographer ikizimo bazohlangana kuphi nendawo bahlanganele kuphi ke nendawo kepha uyasho ukuthi ama instruction mayikhuluma eyaphuma ke lapho ke ukuthi uSergeant Mokhane athathe ke umsolo uqala ke lapho ke ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sase-FL area bese kamthathe kamhambise ke isikhumulo samaphoyisa sase-Albertini ke lapho ke ngesikhathi bekusenzeka lokho ke athi kufakazi wapha ke lapho kuSergeant Mokhane ke inombolo zocingo zakamnumzana uRadebe ke lapho ke bese wabuya futhi wapha ke babo Radebe ke inombolo zocingo zakamama uMokhane uSergeant Mokhane ekuzima xhumana ucingweni ukuthi olohlangana kuphi ke nendawo ngasikhathi.
Thank you, Brigadier. Again, the resume is Radebe's, what is it now? Superintendent, Lieutenant Radebe. It's a colonel, yes. I think it's a colonel now. His resume says that he would have spent a larger portion of his employment in the SAPS working around the greater part of the Gauteng area. I'm saying,
My apologies.
Colonel Khatebe's resume, means his curriculum vitae, is that he would have spent a greater portion of his working in the police, working around the greater part of Gauteng area.
Athi-ke ummeli uma abuka ke i-CV kamnumzana uColonel Khatebe Colonel esikhathini samanje kuwukuthi-ke lapho-ke ngaphansi kohlelo lakho le-CV kuwukuthi wena kusebenze isikhathi esiningi noma ke iminyaka eminingi-ke esebenza ngaphansi kwedolobha laseGoli noma ngaphansi kumalokishi edolobha laseGoli.
As a court, please, my lord, we know we're a bit late. We just found this portion now.
Which one?
Regarding the previous proposition to witness that he arranged for the photographer.
Okay.
That is not correct, my lord.
Yeah, but-
that doesn't accord with the record on page 62 of the record of 25 October 2023, where the evidence of Sergeant Mapakela is contained, my lord.
Yeah, but it's not even allowed to do it, the law. If you want to see that there's a case, the judgment is written by Govan, who's now in the SCA. Govan and Kruger, where our learned colleague, Brigadier Janina, talks about the best practice.
Yes.
It's from that judgment. It was in KZN, 1992. Concerns section 217 regarding a police person or a colonel who is situated in a police station is a colonel, and he takes a a confession from a person whom he is actually investigating the case of.
Yes.
That judgment finds that it is not unlawful or illegal. It is just not good practice to do it.
Yes.
It's in that judgment, you can read it.
Yes.
But the law was never changed.
Yes.
Still the same.
Yes.
But it's just that you shouldn't do it.
Yes, and I think in that case the officer who was engaged also was familiar, or he knew of the
quite.
of the facts of the particular case.
Okay.
Yeah, as I say, my lord, we just want to put it on record. The evidence of Sergeant Mapekala in this regard is on page 62.
Page 60?
62.
Yeah, okay.
Proceedings of 25 October 2023.
Okay, fine. Yes.
Thanks, my lord. I will also go and check my records as well. Because my memory says to me that what I put to this witness is not the evidence of Mapakela, it's the evidence of the same witness, of Brigadier Kininda. I'm not speaking about Mapakela. But I'll go and check my notes very properly. Thank you, Brigadier. That is the resume of Colonel Khatebe.
Athi yabonga ke lapho ngoba kwada kukhuluma ke ngenkulumo ekhona ngaphakathi ke ku-CV kaColonel Khatebe.
Now, the same analogy goes with Brigadier Mboto. That's now the same situation. He was a high-ranking officer. It will be very strange of him to have come and tell this court that at the time at which he took the confession of the pointing out of accused number 2, he would not have known about the death of Senzo, not so.
Athi ke kuyasabisa ukuthi ke lapho ke umnumzana ke uColonel Mboto ngesikhathi ke ahamba ke nomsolo wesibili ke ukhomba ke khona umsolo wesibili ukuthi nekade engenalo ulwazi ngokushona kaSenzo Meyiwa.
My lord, my understanding of, in terms of the best practice rule of taking a confession by an independent officer, it's not my understanding that the said officer will not know something that is covered in the media. It talks about in-depth knowledge in the docket. You have to be independent in that. I do not know any provision that says you must be even out of that jurisdiction. In other words, you must be coming from another province. As long as the person is independent insofar as not being part of the investigation, that is independent insofar as I understand it, my lord.
Athi-ke mayelana nodaba lwe-best practice-ke kusho ukuthi lapho-ke uma ngabe-ke iphoyisa-ke lapho-ke linalo-ke ulwazi oqhamuka-ke kuyintatheli mhlawumbe kubomabonakude mhlawumbe lapho-ke emsakazweni-ke lapho-ke ukuthi-na-ke kumele ukuthi athathe i-confession-ke kamsolwa-ke lapho-ke kepha umuntu-ke onolwazi mayelana nodaba lokusesha kwecala mhlawumbe oyingxenye lethimba lokusesha-ke kwecala akumele ukuthi kube uye kuthatha i-confession-ke lapho-ke noma mhlawumbe yasho khona ukuthi mhlawumbe kumele ukuthi mhlawumbe akukho laba basho khona-ke ukuthi umuntu othatha confession kumele kube umuntu oqhamuka kwesinye isifundazwe noma kwenye province.
Brigadier, you answering something that is you answering a question that you are imagining in your mind. My question is, it would have been very strange of him to come and tell the court that at the time at which he did the pointing out with accused number 1, he would not have known about the death of Senzo, not so.
Athi-ke lapho kuyasabisa-ke mhlawumbe kuyamangaza ukuthi-ke eze ngaphambi kwenkosi enkantolo ukuthi ubufakazi bakhe-ke athi ngesikhathi lesi bekahamba nomsola wokuqala umsola wokuqala ehamba eyokhomba khona-ke lapho-ke lento kade eyokhomba khona-ke yena-ke kade enganalo ulwazi mayelana necala leli ubani washona kwicala leli.
My lord, I'm not imagining things. I'm following what Advocate Mnisi was saying. So to say I'm imagining things, I don't know where that is coming from, because my understanding of where that question was going is that these two officers could not claim, that is the essence of it, that they've got no knowledge of this case. And that is why I was going straight to the point that the best practice rule simply means you are not part of the investigation. That is different knowing about a highly publicized case in the media. So those are two different things. And I'm going straight to the point where Advocate Mnisi is going. But if you want me now to talk straight to the question that is asking me, I can't speak on behalf of the two officers. It is them who can then answer him in that question.
Athi yena asukuthi mhlawumbe ukhuluma ke izinto ayicabangela zona-ke lapho-ke kepha-ke mana nodaba lwe-best practice rule kuwukuthi-ke umuntu-ke oyingxenye mhlawumbe umuntu ongaphansi kwethimba-ke labaseshi akumele ukuthi kube uye-ke owenza-ke udaba lolo kulama-confessions kepha kumele kube umuntu-ke oyimele lapho oyisebenzelayo noma usebenza ngaphansi kwezesiphoyisa kepha ongenalo ulwazi ukuthi yini equkethiwe ngaphakathi kwedokhethi futhi uyasho khona nje ukuthi mayelana nodaba lamaphoyisa kamabili laba kade umnumzana uMnisi uyakhuluma ngawo yena-ke angekho akhona ukuthi abe sesimeni esikahle sokuthi awakhulumele kepha kungaba yibo-ke bangabuya bakhulume kahle ukuthi mhlawumbe ngabe kade benalo-ke ulwazi malana nalo kade kubhaliwe-ke ngabo ayintatheli malana necala leli.
Brigadier Kininda, I'm not talking of two police officers here. I'm talking about Khatebe. So I hear you saying the two police officers that police is talking about. I'm talking about Khatebe. Can you please understand the question, answer according to the question, and don't try to read my mind. It's a very complicated thing. You'll never be able to hit that level, Brigadier. I'm simply saying to you, it would have been very strange for Khatebe to have come to this court and say, at the time at which he took the confession, they did the pointing out with accused number 1, he would not have known about the death of Senzo.
Athi uyacela ukuthi ungakhulumi nodaba lamaphoyisa amabili ngoba yena kakhulumile ngodaba lamaphoyisa amabili-ke kepha bakhuluma ngephoyisa-ke lilodwa lapho komnumzane kuKhatebe lapho-ke kuwukuthi kuyamangaza mhlawumbe kuyasabisa ukuthi eze-ke enkantolo-ke asho ukuthi mhlawumbe kade anganalo kolwazi ngokushona-ke kwamsola mhlawumbe kwakumufika apho Senzo Meyiwa ngesikhathi bekahamba nomsola wokuqala ehamba eyokhomba la kade eyokhomba khona-ke.
My lord, I've already answered the question. I cannot speak on what Lieutenant Colonel Khatebe will come and say if this question is posed to him. That is the first part.
Athi lapho-ke ngeke khona ukhulumela-ke umnumzana uColonel Khatebe ukuthi yena-ke mhlawumbe angafika akhulume ini-ke uma ngaba lo mbuzo angaze awubuzo.
That is better.
The second part, my lord, when I referred to the two officers is because before we got to Colonel Khatebe, the same assertion was put to me about Colonel Mboto, that he was working local or he spent most of his career around Johannesburg. Now the same resume is given about Colonel Khatebe. How is it now wrong when I say I cannot speak on behalf of these two police officers because it's under the same context that is being put to me?
Athi udaba lokuthi aqhumeke amaphoyisa amabili kuwukuthi eqala bakhulumile ngomnomzana uColonel Mbotho ke lapho ke bese kwesibili babuya futhi bakhuluma ke lapho ke ngomnomzana uColonel Khatebe lapho ke kula khona bakhuluma esithi khona ke ngeke khona ukukhulumela kamaphoyisa amabili ke lapho ke athi bezama ukusho khona njalo noma bezama ukusho lokho ke ekuthizeni uma ngabe lokho ngikudinga ukuthi kuphenduleke lapho ke kumele ukuthi babizwe bese babuzwe ke imibuzo leyo ke.
Now, have you known him prior to the day on which you requested him to go take a pointing to do a pointing out of number 1?
Ngabe kade umazi qala ngaphambi ukuthi ukumcela ukuthi ahambe ke nomsolo oqala ngesikhathi umsolo oqala bekahamba yokhomba.
Yes, I've known him as a police officer, my lord. That's correct.
Athi yebo kade ngimazi njengephoyisa.
Thank you. Now, when you gave him that case number 63610 of 2014, false lorries, that had a potential to jog his mind and serve as a pointer as well, that this had to do with the death of Senzo. Not so?
Bathi ngesikhathi esibumupha ke case number elapha eFosloras 636 case 636 of 10/2014 lapho mhlambe bozoshesha kukhumuza umcabango wakho ukuthi leli cala laseFosloras futhi unaqala kade kwashona khona kusenze Meyiwa ngaba kusenjalo yini?
My lord, I can't testify about the state of mind of Colonel Khatebe.
Atlapha ngeke khona ukukhuluma ke ngomcabango kaColonel Khatebe ukuthi kade ecabanga ini noma kade kungasinde le kade ecabanga.
Thank you, Brigadier. Now, after you gave him that number, First Loras case 636, 10 of 2014, then Khatebe says to you, where is the accused? Not so.
Bathi ngesikhathi ke kuqeda ukuphala lapho komnomzana uKhatebe ke case number seFosloras case 636/10/2014 ngabe akaza kubuza ukuthi ngabe ukuphi umsolwa yini?
I don't have a recollection of that. All I recall, my lord, I don't know how the conversation really went because I can't remember verbatim. What I do recall is that he made a request that the accused must be kept, must be booked. His specific request to me is that he must be booked, not just kept. He must be booked in the holding cells of Albertine SAPS, and he will do the arrangements moving forward. And that is why I asked then Sergeant Mukhane to assist with this movement, my lord. That's the content of our conversation.
Athi ke ngeke abe naso isiqiniseko ngogcwele ukuthi kahle kahle inkulumo yabo kade imayelana nani noma mhlawumbe kade iqukethe ini ke kuyona ke ngokuqondile mhlawumbe ngokusana ke emuva nokuthi ashaya isikhungosini ke lapho ke kepha ke into eyenzeka ukuthi ngicela ukuthi ke lapho umsola kumele ukuthi bambhuke ngaphansi kwama holding cells ase-Albertine ke lapho ke futhi thina kulapho khomsana khona ke no Sergeant Mukhane ekuthizeni kahambise komsola besamnikise ke kwisikhumulo samaphoyisa sase-Albertine la kade khona ke uyena azohlangana naye khona ke lapho kumnomzana uKhatebe umsola bese baqhubeke benza umsebenzi wabo phela phambili.
That's not in dispute, Brigadier. At that moment, the accused is in detention at Fileria and Pretoria, not so?
Bathi ngesikhathi leso umsolo wakhe bekalana ePretoria ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa saseFileria kusenjalo?
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
Thank you. And he says to you, no, Brigadier, can you please arrange that the accused should be detained at Albertine police station where I would go see him, not so?
Bathi ngemuva kwalokho ke usho ukuthi ubaba umnomzana oKhatebe bese watshela ukuthi yena cethu wenze ke uhlelo ukuthi ke umsolo emthatha la ePitoli bese nimikise ke kwisikhumulo samaphoyisa sase-Albertine la yena la kade azohlangana naye khona akusinjalo?
No, it's not flowing like that, my lord. It's not a question where he said remove him from Valeria SAPS because I don't think we even got there. And it was the same principle with Colonel Mbotho. When he said, I can assist, bring the accused at this place. They don't worry where the person is coming from. They're assuming you're in control of the person. They just indicate where it will be convenient. So with Colonel Khadebe, the understanding was that he wants the accused to be detained, and then he will do the booking of the accused out. And that's all that's requested. As to where the person was, I don't think we got them a lot. What was prevalent is that he's willing to assist, and he wants the accused person, accused number one, to be taken to Alberton, detained. He never gave me the reason why he wants to do it like that and why he chose Alberton, but that's the request, and I complied with that.
Athi yena akazi mhlambi kade kungaphansi kwezathu noma izathu zini ezakhokhela kulelo daba ke lolo ke kepha yena athi uyimisele ethi abalekelele ke noma asizeke lapho ke umnomzana uHadebe ke lapho ke bese washo khona nje mhlambi washo khona nje abamlethe ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa sase Albertine la yena bazohlangana naye khona ke lapho ke ngemuva ukuthi bambhukhile lapho ke noma bemgcine khona ke kuma holding cells akhona ke lapho ke bese yena ke bazofika lapho kahlangana naye khona ke bese baqhubeke benza umsebenzi wabo bobabili.
He says to you, can you please cause the accused to be detained at Alberton police station? In other words, arrange that the accused should be brought at Alberton police station.
Usuthi wathi yena ke amanye amagama akhe cela ukuthi wenze uhlelo ukuthi yena ke umsolo abamnikise ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sase Albertine. Akusinjalo?
That is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kunjalo.
Thank you. And you say you did not ask him the reason why.
Enothize ukawukaze umbuze isizathu sokuthi kungani bekafisa noma bekafuna ukuthi umsolo animikise ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sasephoyisa sase Albertine.
No, it was not necessary, my lord, to ask. I made a request if he can assist in doing the pointing out. He agrees. He chooses the police station and he says this person must be detained there. He will book him out. Those are formal structures. In fact, I was comfortable with that idea that he prefers the accused number one to be detained and he book him out himself, taking the process from there. So that request for me, as much as we didn't discuss it, it actually sat with me very well because he's not receiving him from hands. He's actually booking him out from the holding cells.
Athina akaza kubona ukuthi kubalekile yini ukuthi zakubuzeke lokho ke kepha yena kwasho khona njalo abamnikise ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa sase Albertine bese ngemva kwaloko siyena bambhukheke lapho ke ahlale khona kalale khona mhlawumbe ahlale khona ke lapho ke bese ke bazomkhipha khona ke ahambe naye ngesikhathi sibeka hamba ayokhomba lapho.
Thank you, Brigadier. I'm going to put it to you the reason why he requested that accused should be detained at Alberton police station. Because from Alberton police station to Forster's is only 20 kilometers. And he knew that from Alberton, we will be driving to Forster's in view of the information, case number that you gave him.
Athi kuzokutshela isizathu ukuthi kungani kwenzeka lokho ke ukuthi uqhamuka lapha eAlbertine uhamba ke uye Forster's uthi uhamba ke umgama oku-20 ama-kilometers lapho ke futhi bekazi ukuthi nani zohamba ke eForster's ke ngemuva kokuthi bumnikile lapho ke case number icala.
My lord, as I've said, I'm going to answer it in twofold. One, I've indicated I cannot speak on behalf of Colonel Khadebe. I don't know how will he deal with this because I'm being told what he knew. I don't know where is that. So it's a difficult position for me to say. That is the first part. But if we are talking about the distance, the closest police station in Forster's, there is a police station. Closer to Forster's, there is Katlehong, Ramukunupi, West police stations. Alberton is the furthest if you compare to the two. In Forster's itself, where this incident happened, there is a Forster's police station. So the logic of a distance on those bases doesn't sit well. But that being said, my lord, Colonel Khadebe have said he may be then a better person to deal with the issues of what was going through his mind when he made such a suggestion, my lord.
Athi lapho ke lo mbuzo wathi ubuziwe uzophendula ke ngendlela ezimbili ezahlukile. indlela yokuqala kuwukuthi-ke lapho-ke yena-ke akazi ukuthi kade kuyini ngaphansi komcabango kamnumzana uColonel Radebe ngesikhathi ade senza isicelo leso ukuthi umsolwa abamnikise ngaphansi kwesikhumulo sezesiphoyisa sase-Albertine. Futhi yena ufakazi athi angeke amkhulumeleke lapho-ke umnumzana uColonel Radebe uma ngabe inkosi yenkantolo ifisa ukubuza lo mbuzo loyo-ke kumele mhlawumbe bambize ngoba uyena-ke ozoba ngaphansi kwesimo esiqondile ekuthizeni aphendule mayelana nodaba lombuzo loyo-ke. Futhi uma ejobela impendulo yakhe mayelana nodaba lohlelo lwesibini uma ephendula umbuzo lokho ukuthi-ke lapho-ke mayelana nebanga mhlawumbe ugama okhona-ke lapho-ke phakathi kwe-Albertine kwefika lapho eFosloras kuwukuthi-ke isikhona-ke isikhumulo samaphoyisa seduze-ke lapho-ke ngekatlehong bese sikhona-ke sesibili-ke eFosloras ukuthi u-20 kilometers umgama khona mhlawumbe uqhelana kwey'ndawo lezi ezimbili-ke lapho-ke akusukuthi mhlawumbe kade kuyinto leyo bengenzeka nanoma kunjani-ke lapho-ke kepha-ke kusho ukuthi bekumele uma ngabe kukhuluma ngama-distance-ke lapho-ke bamnikisa apho ekatlehong noma-ke eFosloras.
And this basically simply aligns with accused number 1's explanation that when they went to the pointing out, he never gave them any directions. They are the ones who took him there.
Athi lapho-ke kuyahambisana-ke nenkulumo eqhamuka komsolwa wokuqala ukuthi ngesikhathi bahamba beyokhomba-ke lapho-ke athi nakakaze abanikeza imininingwane yamakheli kepha-ke ibona abamnikisa-ke lapho-ke kulowo makheli.
My Lord, I think Colonel Radebe can deal with that part as well as the photographer. What I can testify about is that in Exhibit GG, that is the photograph, the album that was taken by the captain from LCRC, you can clearly see accused number 1 pointing to the scene which I indicated to this court, my Lord, that I visited. And that address is 13511 Kutlwano Street, which is the crime scene where the deceased in this matter was shot. The second address, that is the place that is pointing out, it's on the tar road, that is at Basutuni Hostel. That's what I can see here in the photos. He is pointing. No one is pointing for him. He is himself pointing, and the photos are contained in this exhibit GG, my Lord.
Athi-ke ufakazi-ke lapho-ke usukuthi lapho-ke usukuthi umuntu wathwebula-ke iy'thombe-ke lapho-ke uthi noColonel Radebe kumele kube yibona abazayo abazokhuluma-ke mayelana nodaba lolo-ke kepha athi uma ngaba ubuka ngaphansi kwemibukiso ka-GG ngaphakathi kwey'thombe-ke lapho-ke ukhona la khona-ke umsolwa kwiy'thombe ezimbili la kade akhomba khona-ke kwiy'ndawo ezahlukene futhi la-ke ebonakala khona-ke kucecebha khona ukuthi la yena-ke kade bengakhombi mayelana naye kepha uyena kade akhomba-ke lapho-ke etshengisa-ke abantu mayelana nendawo lena-ke la kwasholela khona-ke umufi futhi indawo yesigameko futhi enye yesibili-ke indawo lapho-ke ngaphansi kwendawo yasebasuthuni hostel kusho ukuthi lapho-ke kade kuyena mathupha umsolwa wokuqala kade akhomba kusho ukuthi kade khona kumuntu othizeni la kade akhombe khona-ke kuqala.
The Brigadier, let us start here. You said you visited that scene. In other words, you did your own personal inspection in local.
Bese kufakazi umkhohlezi ukusho ukujobela ufakazi athi nalapho-ke naye waya kumathupha nodaba lolu-ke lwey'ndawo lezi-ke manje kumele uyabuza kusho ukuthi wena-ke fakazi wahamba wavakasha kule ndawo lezi ezahlukene ngekhize kade mhlawumbe usenzeka ucwaningo lomsebenzi wakho mhlawumbe usasha kwecala.
My Lord, the answer is yes, in collaboration, and I think I dealt with this part, that after the confessions, both the one from Colonel Mboto, the pointing out and the photos were taken, a process that I embarked on with the team was to corroborate what was contained in the confession. I needed to know what place is he pointing and how material it is to the case, and that is why I was able to confirm that the place that is pointing is the crime scene where the victim was shot. That is the house of the Kumalos. The other place is the main road next to Basutuni Hostel, because I had to do a physical visit in the corroboration of what was contained here and other things in his confession document, my Lord.
Athi ufakazi uma iphendula mayelana nodaba lolo kusho ukuthi yebo empeleni nake ngemuva ukuthi wathola-ke confession bese wabuya kuthola-ke iy'thombe lezi ade kuthotshuliwe-ke lapho noma ezathathwa-ke lapho-ke lo muntu bamuthe umuntu othobe iy'thombe efotografa-ke ngesingisi-ke ngesikhathi aqeda ukuthola leyo nkulumo mhlawumbe lobo ufakazi lobo-ke kuwukuthi yena-ke wahamba wenza ukusesha kwecala lakhe ethizeni axhumanise ufakazi kade aphethe ukuthi ngabe mhlawumbe uqondile futhi kuyaxhumana noma ufakazi wabo usho ukuthi kuyahambisana ngesikhathi lesi bekabuthola-ke lapho-ke kuwukuthi-ke wahamba wavakasha kule ndawo lezi ezimbili ezahlukene lezi ndawo ezimbili ezahlukene izona-ke ke umsolo oqala awayikhomba ke indawo lezo ke usuthi lapho ke indawo yokuqala kade ayikhombile lapho usuthi indawo yokuqala kade ayikhombile ke lapho usuthi ilo muzi ke walapha kwakhumalo umuzi la kade kwehla khona ke isigameko ke futhi indawo yesibili bekayikhombi lapho ke lo mgwaqo omkhulu lapho usuthi main road noma umgwaqo nje omkhulu ke lapho ke oseduze nalapho ke basuthwini hostel.
Brigadier, let me help you very quickly. That inspection in loco of yours, it's invalid. It does not assist this court because that is self-corroboration. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that came from the same Mr. Khatebe when he conducted the pointing out that has been placed before court, which indicated that when accused number 1 is pointing this, this is what was happening, and he was pointing this. When in photo number 2, accused number 1 is pointing this. In photo number 3, accused person is pointing that. In other words, the notes of the pointing out are not there.
Actually, nodaba lomnumzana ke noma le inspection logo owayenza ukuthi yena ke udaba olungekho futhi olungamukelekile ngembangela ukuthi ngesikhathi leso umnumzana oHadebe kade ehamba ke ukhomba ke noma etshengiswa ke umsola oqala ke lapho ke malana nezinto kade amtshengisa zona ukuthi awekho ama notes abhaliwe ukuthi ngesikhathi umsola bekakhomba lokhu busuthi bekusho ilokhu nalokhu ya.
Those are let me finish. Those are just photos where accused number 1 is seen pointing and pointing and pointing. But as to the essence of what is pointing, there's no content.
Athi-ke lapho ke suthi lapho ke ithome nje kuphela lezi ejengakala khona ke umsola oqala akuzona ke ngesikhathi bekakhomba futhi eqhubeka ekhomba ngoba akukho lokubhaliwe okhethekile ukuthi mala ngesikhathi esibekakhomba lapho ke kusho ukuthini kusho ukuthi bekakhomba lokhu nalokhu ya.
So your little self corroboration does not assist this or will not assist this court. That's going to be my argument.
Athi ke ba inkulumo yakhe ngaphansi kwenkulumo uma ngabe phikisana nethimba labeshushisi ukuthi le ndaba ekhulumile ukuthi ayihambisani noma ayiqondile ayishayile isikhunkosini.
I disagree, my lord. That assertion is incorrect. If you look at the pointing out form that was completed by Colonel Khatebe, there's a pro forma, there's annexures of notes. So it is actually even incorrect to say there were no notes because Colonel Khatebe made notes and the accused, the deponent, signed. Now, the last paragraph, just the second paragraph before the last, reads as follows, my lord. I pointed out the 2 places, the house where the shooting took place and the spot where I was dropped off after the shooting to Lieutenant Colonel Khatebe. This is just one paragraph, my lord, but prior to this, there are paragraphs which Colonel Khatebe wrote, taking them from accused number 1. So it is incorrect to say there's no pointing out, there's no notes accompanying the photos that indicates accused number 1 pointing. I was corroborating what was said here, but there are notes by the Colonel which indicates exactly what accused number 1 was pointing.
Athi lapho ekuthizeni ke udaba lokuthi awekho ama notes abhaliwe mhlawumbe inkulumo ebhaliwe ke ngemuva ukuthi lapho umsola oqala ke ekhombile lapho ekhomba khona ke izinto lezi athi azikhomba ke ejengisa ke lapho ke umnumzana uColonel Khatebe akona iqiniso ngoba ke akhona ke ama notes abhaliwe lapho ke ngaphansi kwekhasi lapho la ka AR 142 la bakhuluma khona kuma ngabuka ke lapho ke paragraph yesibili umqhamuka lapho ngenzansi ke khona ke la ibhala ngalendlela elandelayo ukuthi mina ngakhomba ke indawo ezimbili ke lapho ke into yokuqala ke umuzi la kade kudutshulwa khona ke bese ke indawo yesibili wayikhomba ke lapho ke suthi indawo la dena bamshiya khona ke ngemuva ukuthi kade kudutshuliwe ke kulo muzi indawo lezo zimbili bekayikhomba ayitshengisa ke lapho ke umnumzana uColonel Khatebe.
Brigadier, I won't take this aspect with you. You clearly do not know how pointing out must be conducted. From the answers that I'm getting from you, you clearly don't know how the pointing out should be conducted. But thanks, let us proceed.
No, I disagree. I know exactly how a pointing out should be conducted, my lord. But in this instance, I'm responding to the assertion that said there were no notes.
Okay.
And
so there are notes.
There are notes, my lord.
Okay.
athi lapho uphelela mina nodaba lokuthi na awekho ama-notes abhaliwe lapho kade akhona-ke ama-notes abhaliwe-ke lapho-ke ngemuva ukuthi kade kubehambile kumsolo wokuqala futhi umnumzana ucolonel Radebe ngesikhathi umsolo wokuqala kade yahamba-ke ukhuma-ke indawo ezimbili lezi-ke eyitshengisa-ke lapho-ke umnumzana ucolonel Radebe.
Thank you, Brigadier. Earlier on indicated that you were passionate about reading OB entries. You actually told this court a lot about OB entries, not so?
Athi kuqala bakade bekhuluma ngodaba lama-OB entries lawa nathize la kade ukhuluma khona inkulumo eningi uyitshela inkosi enkantolo kusenjalo yini?
Yeah, but my lord, yes, I did speak about OB, but it should be taken in the context of the question that I was dealing with, because we're dealing with a specific incident of a specific time relating to an allegations of assault. And I was moving in that sequence that if you move from that day or the incident of that assault and you flow on that incident, there are no records. For example, with accused number one, specifically, my lord, I have said from the time he was detained in Valeria on the 31st, the morning hours, to the time that he was taken to court on the 1st of June, there were no entries that indicates that he was assaulted. He reported an assault, because we're dealing with accused number one, my lord.
Athi lapha ngesikhathi lesi ufakazi beyakhuluma noma nodaba lama-occurrence book lapho noma ama-entry book lapho-ke kungemuva kokuthi ake khona kombuzo uqhamukini mhlawumbe umbuzo kade bewubuzile-ke lapho-ke futhi bathi behamba ngalolo hlangothi lapho ngesikhathi bekaphendula mayelana nodaba lolo-ke uma ngabe khuluma ngodaba lolo futhi ngelanga lange-31 zakaMeyi-ke lapho-ke ngaphambi ukuthi umsolo kaqhamuke ngaphambi kwesenkantolo noma mhlawumbe enkantolo-ke ngelanga lokuqala kwenyanga kaJune-ke lapho-ke kukuthi ngaphansi kwencwadi abayibiza ukuthi occurrence book laba bhala khona ke ngaphansi kwezikhumulo zesiphoyisa uma ngabe egcina-ke abasula khona ukuthi lapho-ke akukho la kubhalwa khona-ke ukuthi umsolo oqala washawa noma yena kade akhulumile ukuthi yena kushayiwe mhlawumbe ukuthi khona-ke into eyenzeka kuyena-ke uma ngabe khuluma ngodaba lwani lwama-occurrence book futhi udaba loluqhamuke la khona kade besho khona kade kuney'nsolo khona-ke ezokuthi umsola oqala wakhuluma washo ukuthi-ke ngesikhathi belapho-ke kuma-holding cells washaywa-ke.
My lord, may I just request an indulgence just to confirm one point with accused. Thank you for indulgence, Mother. Thank you, sir. There's a stack of papers here that I received from the state, but I think I'm not so sure what exhibits are these, but I'll try the best that I can. There's an OB entry from Fileria that has got the date of the 5th of June 2020. Actually, it says it's written there, Fileria in bracket MCB. I wonder if the state can assist us. This. I'm told that this is exhibit N.
athi kumabuka kunamaphepha ke amaningi ke awatholile aqhamuka kwithimba kabashushisi ke lapho ke khona ukuthi lapho kumabuka lapho ngaphansi kwembukiso ka-NN khona la babhale khona ke ngaphansi kwephepha lelo babhale ukuthi fileria bese kuma-bracket babhale ukuthi lapho ke MCB yakhe ilanga lapho ke i-5 zakaJune ngomnyaka ka-2020.
Exhibit NN, there's a date there, the 5th of June 2020.
Athi ilanga elibhaliwe lapho ke langa i-5 zakaJune ngomnyaka ka-2020.
I don't have an extra copy. Maybe the state can assist us so that you're able to follow as we proceed. Now, on the 5th, there's an entry there, entry number.
My apologies, my lord.
Sorry.
The witness is making mention of something pertaining to the date.
Yeah, the date. I've got the date of the 22 here, not the 5th. I see Advocate Mnisi is referring to the 5th.
Yeah, 5th of June.
Is it here? The answer. Just take it to the advocate. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
On the 5th of June 2020, which is written Friday here, there's an entry there, entry number 326/345. It's right at the bottom. That's the last entry.
Ilanga lange-5 zakaJune kune-entry khona ke lapho ke 326 futhi no-345 izona esenzansi egcineni ke lapho ke.
I see that, my lord.
Thank you.
Yebo ngiyayibona ke leyo.
Now, the time there, it's 1 minute past 8 o'clock in the morning, not so?
That is correct, my lord.
But isikhathi esikhona ke lapho umzuzu nje owodwa ke ngemuva kwehora laka-8 ekuseni athi yebo iqiniso.
Now it reads, investigation out. Sergeant Mohale with 1 mail for dealing in drugs. And then it continues to the next page.
Bathi ababhala khona ukuthi uSergeant Mohale futhi umunye ke oyedwa ke bahambile. Pardon.
The next page, it's still the 5th of June 2020, and it's
Now-
still entry number 326.
My apologies. La khona ababhala ukuthi khona kuSergeant Mohale futhi noyedwa ke lapho bathi udayisa ke idakamizwa mhlawumbe ukuthola ngedakamizwa
Thank you.
bese ku-entry esibili elandelayo ke.
Now the following page says 326.
Yes, my
Lapho
lord.
kule entry ka-326
Moses Temba Sibia, SAP 1401/06/2020. SAP 14 A5 R50862008. And case 21703 of 2019, no injuries, correctly received. In other words, the person who correctly received this Moses Temba Sibiya is the person who signed it there. I don't know whose signature is that one, but I can assume because it's been booked out by this Mokhale, it's the signature of Mokhale also.
bathi ke lapho kuma ngabe ubuka lapha ngaphansi kwale intro khona ke intro ka 326 lapho ke babhale khona lapho ukuthi ngaphansi kwephuzu lokuqala bathi Moses Sithembe Sibiya ke bathi SAP 14 01 0106 2020 se SAP 14A close bracket bathi lapho ke R 508 6208 as a case lapho ke suthi 217/03/2019 bathi akukho umuntu olimele ke lapho noma akalimele yena ke bathi ke umuntu owamthola ke lapho kathi akazi ubani osayindile ke lapho ke kepho ecaba ukuthi mhlawumbe umuntu odamthola ke lapho ke uSergeant Mokhane akusinjalo yini?
Yes, it is correct, my lord.
Athi yebo kweqiniso kunjalo.
Now let us make some corrections here. It says the person, it's indicated there that is Sergeant Mokhale. Would that be Sergeant Mohula, your team member?
Atlapho bhala ukuthi Sergeant Mokhale usuthi ngabe mhlawumbe enze iphutha bakhohlwa ubhala ukuthi lapho Sergeant Mohula osebenza ngaphansi kwethimba lakho.
No, it's Sergeant Mokhane. That is the member that I asked to move accused number 1 from Valera SAPS to Alberton SAPS. So it's Sergeant Mokhane. That's a male. Sergeant Mohula is a female.
Athi cha kusinjalo lapho kuSergeant Mokhane futhi yena kwamcetha ahambise komsoco oqala amsuse ngaphansi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa saseFeleria esamahambisa ke lapho la kade amhambisa khona ke Albertine ke lapho ke futhi esho khona ukuthi uSergeant Mokhale ke umuntu ke wesilisa ke lapho ke bese uSergeant Mohula wesimanje.
So for record purposes, the correct annotation should have been, or the entry should have been Sergeant Mokhane.
Yes.
Booked him out.
Yes, the
Thank you.
signature is the one of Sergeant Mokhane because I know it, my lord.
Oh,
He's the
okay,
one that
thank
signed
you.
for him.
Athi yebo ke umuntu osayindile ke lapho kuSergeant Mokhane ke ngoba yazi ukuthi uyena ke osayina ngalendlela asayine ngayo ke ngalana ke.
Thank you. Now, still on the same date, 05/06/2020, at entry number 326/345. Sergeant Mokhane brings the accused back on the same date. Not so. Are you at 18:01? That is now 6:01 in the afternoon.
Correct.
Thank you.
Atlapho ke suthi ngemuva komzuzu owodwa ke emaqedesha ihora lesithupha ke lapho uSergeant Mokhane uyambuyisa ke futhi soyena ombhukayo athi yebo kunjalo.
Now let's go to the Alberton. The Alberton OP book, occurrence book, Alberton occurrence book. I think it's in the same pile of papers there. Oh, I'm told it's exhibit KK.
Baxa ke seke ngaphansi kwe Occurrence book yaseAlbertine wathi exhibit KK ke loyo ke.
Now, there's entry. Are you with me, Brigadier?
Yes,
Thank you. There's an
I'm with
entry
you.
317/326.
Yes,
Yes.
I can see that, my lord.
Yeah.
Athi entry ke lapho ke 317 futhi ngaphansi kwabhala ukuthi 326 athi yebo nginawe ke lapho.
Now that's an Alberton occurrence book, and then it reads 12 o'clock. That is midday. The suspect handed in for pointing out by Sergeant Mokhane of National Court Cases Investigation Unit. The name of the suspect is written there as Moses Temba Sibiya. There's a case number 63610 of 2014, which is murder in bracket false arrest. And it's noted they're free from visible injuries. Are we together there?
Bathi-
Yes, we are, my lord.
Thank
athi
you.
yebo samasodo nawe ke lapho ke usuthi lapho babhale khona ke ngaphansi isikhathi 317 ilokuzana enter khona uthi 326 usuthi isikhathi lapho ke 12 wasemini ke lapho ke bathi ke umsola kwamikiswa lapho ke usergeant Mogane ngemuva uthi kade bezokhomba ke lapho ke usuthi usergeant Mogane qhamuka lapho ke ku national court cases ke lapho ke usuthi umseshi weqala ke lapho ke use investigating unit igama likamsola lapho ku Moses Thembe Sibiya ke lapho uqhamuka ngaphansi uqalile leka 636 /10/2014 iqala lokubulala ke iqala indawo elenzeka khona ke bathi Phosphorus lawo thina kade kungekho ke ukulimala de kubonakala ke kuyena ke athi yebo ngikusale emuva.
Thank you. Now, Brigadier, you said that you had gone through these occurrence books in view of the allegations of assault that were made by accused number 1. Did you also go through this entry?
Athize unokwafundile ke ama-occurrence book mana nodaba lwakamsolo oqala la kade nathi athize khona ke bekashaya khona ke manje umuzo kukuthi ngabe le entry ngokhethekile wayifunda.
My lord, we are getting now to the pointing out only today. Previously, because I need to move, and Advocate Mnisi said he wants to lead me. I can't now run astray. We were dealing with the assault in relation to the day of his arrest and when he made a confession to Colonel Mboto. And the occurrence book that I refer to relate to that. Now we've moved to the 5th. That is the day of the pointing out. I've not commented on the OPs on those days, but I can see in terms of what I've read in terms of the Valeria when he was booked out, and when he was booked in Alberton and booked out to Valeria, that also there he had no injuries. But this is the first time now I'm referring to it. But previously, yes, I've read the OBs, but insofar as the testimony that is before court, being led by Advocate Mnisi, I've only dealt previously with the detention OBs after his first arrest, right up to the time when he went to court for the drug dealing matter on the 1st of June, which contained no injuries. The second part that now I'm dealing with of the pointing out, that starts in Valeria to Alberton, out of Alberton back to Valeria. So far, these ones also, there are no injuries documented.
Athi ke lapho ke uma ngabe khuluma ngokushaya uma kade aphendula ke ngokushaya malana nodaba la kade khona amsolo oqala bakathi ushaya khona ke kade khuluma udaba le confession ngifuthi ngesikhathi somsolo oqala baboshwa ngaso ke futhi ngesikhathi somsolo oqala kade bemvalela ngaso ke ngaphansi kwama holding cells alapho ke kusikhumulo samaphoyisa la avala khona kuze futhi ngesikhathi lesi baqhamuka ngaphambi kwenkantolo ukuthi lapho kuma efuna kuma occurrence book kwakhona ke lapho ke akukho la kubhalwe khona ke ukuthi umsolo oqala washaya khona ke mhlawumbe kade alimele khona ke ngesikhathi kusenzeka zonke ke igama lezo zokuthi yena ke kade bushiwe wahamba waya kusikhumulo samaphoyisa bese ngemuva kwalokho wahamba enkantolo ke futhi yasho konje ukuthi yasho khona njalo ufakazi ukuthi lapho ke umnumzana Mnisi uyena damhola ke ngemibuzo ke lapho ke futhi uma ekhuluma ngodaba lolu ke lwale occurrence book lena ke lapho yalaphathini futhi nodaba le occurrence book lapho ke Valeria ke lapho ke uyasho khona ukuthi uma ke ifunda akukho la kubhaliwe khona ukuthi umsolo oqala washaya.
And the reason, my lord, the last part, the reason I'm saying I'm moving them step by step as I'm being led by Advocate Mnisi is because there's no assertion at this stage where I'm being told by Advocate Mnisi that accused number 1 was assaulted to do the pointing out. So that is why I dealt with what he was putting to me, that he was assaulted insofar as the confession that he made to Colonel Mboto. Insofar as this assertion from Advocate Mnisi directly, I have not been told that he's been assaulted, hence I didn't refer to these occurrence books.
Athi sathi nake ngakhuluma ngodaba lolu occurrence book ukuthi akukho labamtshela khona ukuthi ngesikhathi bekahamba ke yokhomba ke lapho ke hamba nomnumzana uColonel Radebe ukuthi nake washaya ke lapho ke uma ngakepha uma ngabe ukusikhuluma ngodaba lolu ke le confession kulawa khuluma khona ukuthi nake washaya umnumzana lapho ke uColonel Mboto ke ngaphambi ukuthi nake enze kodaba lwakhe le confession kungakho bagcinize kungakho bekakhuluma egciniza kodaba lolu le confession iqala ke ukuthi akukho la kubhaliwe khona ukuthi sola uqaqala washaywa ngaphambi kokuthi ke enze confession kepha kuma sikhuluma ngodaba lolu ke le pointing out noma udaba lokukhomba ke khona ke lapho ke umnumzana Mnisi akakhulumile ngokujulile ekuthizeni ke umsola lapho ke washaya.
That's my response, my lord.
Thank you, Brigadier. Are you then saying, Brigadier, that as and when the allegations of assault surfaced, you never went to have a look at the Alberton OB just to verify if there were any signs, there were any injuries that accused person could have sustained in the investigation of the case in its entirety, and then you seeing this entry for the first time.
Pardon?
What I'm saying is he then saying that as and when the allegations of assault surfaced, assault on accused number 1 surfaced, he never went on to have a look on this OP entry which relates to the pointing out. He only concentrated on the OP entries which were relating to the confession.
But you're shooting as cut as that was such a car, opening lelike, like awukaze ubukeke mana udaba lolu pointing out uthi umsola ke washawa ke yini noma akaza ashwaye ashawe, kepha kona mana udaba le confession kulabo ugcinize khona ke futhi ubuke khona ukuthi le nkulumo le qhamukile ezokuthi umsola uqala ke washaya kula kade ugcinize khona ke ubuka ke mayana nodaba le confession,
such that he is seeing this entry for the first time.
usuthi lapho kona usuthi uyaqala nqa namuhla nje ukubona ke malana nodaba lolu lale entry.
So no, the answer is that's not correct, my lord. It's not what I'm saying. So let me deal with it in that sequence. In the collaboration process, after the pointing out, as I indicated, my lord, one of the things that I did was to visit the station myself, and I think I may have dealt with this part. And the copies of the exhibit that Advocate Mnisi is referring me to, in the docket that we disclosed to the defense, is marked A148. That is exactly that OP from Alberton that indicate that it was handed in under Osora's case 636 of 10/2014 with no injuries, and subsequently then booked out by Kenya Kaderi, booked back again with no injuries, and then booked out by Sergeant Muhani. So I saw it then as part of the investigation. That is why in the docket it's index 148. It was much earlier. My statements, the indexing, my lord, it's over 300 if you look at these volumes. So that was right at the beginning. So I saw it then, I took copies, and they were filed in the docket.
Athi lapho cha lona iqiniso lelo ukuthi lo daba le statement uyaqala ukusibona njengamanje la ngaphambi kwenkantolo adakwa iqiniso ngoba ke statement lesike wanika ke ithimba labameli ke lapho ke wawenza amakhophi bese babanika ke ithimba labameli ke futhi libhalile ngombhalo uthi A148 la kade esho khona ukuthi la kade nake khuluma khona ngodaba lolu olwenza noma udaba lolu lama occurrence book ngesikhathi umsola kade bemkhipha ngaphakathi kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa esithizeni bemnikeza kwesikhumulo samaphoyisa esithizeni ke lapho ke futhi ngesikhathi kade ahamba kanono Sergeant Mohani khona ke lapho ke kula kade kula khona kubhaliwe futhi ngesikhathi esithi ahamba nomnumzana oGadebe futhi nomnumzana kombotho kula kubhaliwe khona ke futhi ngesikhathi ethe kubhala kulama entry khona ke akukho la kubhaliwe khona ukuthi umsola uqala ke washaya.
Now, the second time, my lord, that we had to visit this exercise was when the original OBs were then requested and presented to this court for the purpose of a trial within trial. And the same OB from this station, the original one now, was obviously presented, and I had to assist in making arrangement that such OBs are collected. So that was now the second encounter with this entry, insofar as Alberton is concerned, and Valeria.
Athi lapho ke isikhathi sesibili ke ngesikhathi buka udaba lolu lama OB ukuthi kungesikhathi khona ke inkulumo ngaphambi iqala ngaphakathi kwecala la khona bekhuluma khona ukuthi bafuna ke ama original wala ma copy ke lapho ke thina kula khona kwahamba khona walekelela ethizeni ngathola ke ama originals wala ma copy ethizeni ngaqhamuke nawo noma awalethe ngaphambi kwenkantolo.
And second to the last, my lord, I've said during the process now, in the entire process, be it this time or during the time of a pointing out or during the regular visit, I did not see an entry that indicated that accused number 2 was assaulted. Even on the day when he made such assertions to the presiding officer that he was assaulted by the police officers or SAPD from SAPD Silverton, even on that day when we conducted investigation in the occurrence books and subsequently the prison, there was no corroboration or independent evidence that we could find that support that assertion.
athi mina nodaba lakamsuku la oqala ke la kade athi thina washa khona ke futhi nesikhathi ade sibenza kusearch uqala labo uqala eqaleni kuyefika esikhathini samanje akukho la kubhaliwe khona ngaphansi ko-occurrence ukuthi ke umso oqala ke washawa ke lapho ke futhi la kade khona ngaphambi esenkantolo ukuthi washa amaphoyisa ke noma ithimba leziphoyisa laseSilverton akukho la kubhaliwe khona ke noma nodaba lolo ukuthi ke washa.
Now, lastly, my lord, when I say to Advocate Mnisi, I'm dealing with it now. I don't mean in a sense of it being the first time me having sight of it or commenting on it, because I think I testify about it. I was simply saying, in a manner, the way he's leading me. We only dealt with the assault insofar as his arrest, leading to the confession of Colonel Mboto, where it's alleged that he's being assaulted, which is not true. And in response to that, I dealt with the OBs, dealing with those circumstances up to the 1st of June 2020, when he went to make his first appearance in court. And I'm saying now that we are now moving to the pointing out, which also has details OB as we are dealing with them, that it is the first time, not the first time seeing them, but first time responding in relation to these OBs.
Athi ke mana nodaba lolu ke lokuthi na ke bayakhuluma khona kanjalo mana nodaba lo Occurrence book la kade umsolo qala bekahamba khona ke okhomba khona ke kuqala bekhuluma ngalo ke lodaba lolu la ngaphambi kokusenkantolo ngoba ke ngesikhathi kade ke amphenya noma ngesikhathi kade amhola ke ngemibuzo kommelweni kuqala ke ukukhuluma ngodaba lolu lo pointing out kepha qala kade akhuluma ngodaba lwani udaba lo confession futhi ngesikhathi lo confession ngesikhathi esibekahamba khona ke njalo ke kuze kwafinca ke ilanga la ngeyiwanza kaJune ngeminyaka ka2020 ngesikhathi lesi beqala kuvela ngaphambi kwenkosenkantolo athi qala kade bekhuluma ngodaba lolu ke kepha bakaze bakhuluma ngodaba lolu ke lo pointing out.
That's my response, my lord.
Thank you, Brigadier. My lord, I'm requesting an adjournment for lunchtime. Thank you.
What's your time, Mr. Balui?
7 minutes past 1, my lord.
Okay. 2 o'clock.
Parliament.